It's very nice to be here. My topic today is reductionism. More particularly, I'm going to talk about a reductionist project as it was carried out recently. That book here by David Chalmers in Constructing the World. The title of the book, of his book, is Constructing the World. That's an homage to Carnap's book, The Logische Aufbau der Welt, which either gets translated as the logical structure of the world or the logical construction of the world. Now, Carnap's project in that book is usually either regarded as at best as a heroic failure, and at worst as a sort of quixotic dream. Now, Chalmers, he sees it as a heroic failure, and he aims to sort of, learn from the mistake and implement a better version of the Carnap's project. What I will do today is to raise a problem for Chalmers' way of doing things, for Chalmers' way of articulating his reductionist project, and more specifically of arguing for his reductionist conclusions. I'm not actually sort of trying to refute what Chalmers says. That wouldn't work. Also, I'm actually quite sympathetic to the project, but I think the way he does it, the way he argues for it, is too simple. So it's harder. It's a lot harder than he acknowledges to get the conclusion he wants. So that's very broadly speaking what I want to argue. So my hope is to, get a better understanding of what it would take for that sort of project to succeed. So I said that topic is reductionism. Now that term means very different things to different people, so I should say a little bit what I take it to mean. And for that, it's best to start not with Chalmers' recent book, but with an earlier article, a very influential article, co-authored by Frank Jackson and Chalmers, 2001. It was called Conceptual Analysis and Reductive Explanation. And in that article, they sketch a certain reductionist vision, which is in some ways quite strong, sort of stronger and weaker forms of reductionism. In some respects it's strong, in some respects it's quite weak. So it's strong in two respects. It's strong in the sense that, in the sense that it requires an epistemic relation between the reductive base and what's being reduced. And not just any epistemic relation, but an a priori epistemic relation, sort of a strong a priori component to the reductionism. It's also strong in the sense that it applies to everything, so it's not just reductionism about the mind or about some other domain, it's reductionism about everything whatsoever. So in these respects, it's strong. Now, in some other respects, it's quite weak. It's weak in the sense that they sort of allow a very generous space. I'll say more about what they take the base of the reduction to be. And it's also weak in the sense that, there's no sort of obvious metaphysical or ontological consequence to the project. So it's really cast in epistemic terms. It's sort of strong on the epistemic side, but no obvious metaphysical implications. Now, Chalmers in his book, he sort of expands on that project from the joint article to much greater length. Now, what he says is, he sort of puts things quite abstractly. What he wants to argue for, he says that he wants to argue for the claim that every truth is a priori entailed by truth expressed in a compact vocabulary. So the idea is, there are lots of true sentences. Sentences are composed of words. There are lots of words, as we know from a big dictionary. But the idea is actually, all these truths will be a priori entailed by truths stated in a very limited vocabulary. So that's a very sort of abstract version of stating the claim. So what is compact? The way he puts it, it's a matter of the number of families of expressions. So families of expressions, to a first approximation, we can take the physical expressions as a family, the phenomenal expressions, phenomenal in Chalmers sense as relating to conscious experience, and I think the chemical expressions, and so on and so forth. So, a very sort of intuitive notion of family, what a family is, and the compact class of truths is compact in his terms if it's only using a small number of families. What is small, he says, we can leave the notion vague, but to give a rough idea, I would say that fewer than 10 or so families would be ideal, that 20 would be acceptable, but that more than 100 would be pushing things. So you can see it's very relaxed about it. So, he just wants to have this sort of abstract thesis about compactness, but he isn't too worried about, how small exactly. So
What is a family in this context? I'm sorry.
Yeah, one example being that the physical expressions would form a family like mass and charge and spin. The mathematical expressions would form a family like number and plus and equals and so on and so forth. So roughly sort of along the domains of knowledge or along the sciences. So, but it's quite vague what the family is. But that's sort of to a first approximation. So, which sort of, shows you that it would be pretty pointless to try to argue against Chalmers' thesis by counterexamples, because, you need at least 100 counterexamples to get him worried. Because, compact is not a very sort of strong constraint, the way he puts it. So he could always say, if you present Chalmers with something, an expression such that sentences involving that expressions aren't a priori entailed by some putative base, he would say, okay, just add it to the base and it will stay compact. And I can do that lots of times until it gets worried about it being compact. So it's not exactly thesis that's sort of open to susceptible to falsification, obviously. So it's just a POTI seminar, so I thought at least once I need to mention falsification. Right. Now, fortunately, I said that's sort of the basic abstract claim that Chalmers makes, and very sort of strongly committed to. Fortunately, he also makes a more specific and stronger claim that he argues for, even though he's sort of less strongly committed to it. He's sort of more open to it turning out to be false. And that stronger claim is minor variations aside, the same one that already Chalmers and Jackson in their joint paper advocated, which is that the base should be should consist of a class of sentences that Chalmers and Jackson and subsequently Chalmers called PQTI. PQTI. So what does that stand for? P, so you can think of physical, so it's microphysical truths. Q, think of qualia, it's phenomenal truths, truths about conscious experience. Indexical truths, like things like today's Tuesday, that wouldn't follow from P and Q, so you need some sort of indexical information about the time and the speaker. And T, that's a totality truth, or that's it truth. That's to help you derive certain negative truths. So if you have like P saying there are 4 dimensions, space-time has 4 dimensions, so you need you sort of can't, if it just says that, you can't immediately direct there isn't a fifth dimension. I think that's true. But if you have like if you have P and that's it, so there's nothing else apart from P, then you can a priori derive that there's no fifth dimension, because there are no sort of angels or things like that. So there's a big temptation for me to say a lot about T, because one of my favorite topics, what this totality truth is. We have a project at the moment in Glasgow and Edinburgh called The Whole Truth, where we look at different formulations of totality operators. But even though I think it's actually very important for Chalmers projects in many ways, sort of not directly relevant to what I'm about to say today, so I won't say more about it here. Now I talked about a priori entailment. What does that mean? Well, a priori, Chalmers works with this notion of some sentence being a priori. There's a big debate about what that means, but we can sort of understand it as something that can be worked out from the armchair. That's not completely incorrect, but it will do for our purposes. We don't need to do empirical investigation. So a priori entailment is then just if P is a priori entailed by Q, just if a certain conditional, if P then Q is a priori, where we can read that as a material conditional here. Now, instead of talking about a priori entailment, Chalmers talks about scrutability, which is a technical term that he takes from Quine. Quine talked about the inscrutability of reference. So Chalmers doesn't use it, doesn't apply it really to reference, but to truth. So he says, he talks rather than a class of sentences being a priori entailed by another class, he talks of a class of sentences being scrutable from another class, where that means that for every truth in the former class, like the A truth, there is a conjunction of B truths that a priori entails it. So that form, it can take there are some B truths such that the conjunction of all these B truths, such that the material conditional with the conjunction of these B truths as the antecedent, and the A truth as a consequent is a priori. Well, that's the scrutability.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
So, I mean, structurally, this is an awful lot like saying that the A truths supervene on the B truths, except that instead of sort of metaphysical necessitation, you have a priori entailment. So, is that correct?
Yes. Yeah. It's that's very much correct.
And then does he explain what the difference is between a priori entailment and various other forms of necessitation, like metaphysical necessitations, for instance?
Yes. Well, yes, he spent a lot of time on that, to explain the relationship between those. So the issues that I'm going to raise today are sort of more structural issues that will arise on both readings. So Chalmers, he sees the relationship between necessitation or supervenience and these epistemic notions as quite close. They sort of almost coincide, except in cases where you have like rigidification. He has this two-dimensional semantic apparatus, which is supposed to clarify the relationship. So yes, basically a lot of the discussion can be had either about a priori or a prioricity and scrutability, or about necessitation and supervenience. That's right. The same issues arise.
Sorry, can I ask perhaps a dumb question, just to kind of get a picture of the question, right? So, I mean, if we're thinking about understanding reduction, or that's understanding the relation between different areas of sciences, how, if all this talk is about a priori relations, how do we account for the fact that whether or not chemistry is even possible as a science depends on, say, the initial conditions of the universe that allow for the existence of elements? I mean, it seems like that's not something a priori accessible because it's just a fact about the way the world is.
Good, good. I think there's something I should have said but didn't. P doesn't just include the physical laws, the sort of thing that you might find in a textbook. It's actually, it includes all the physical facts. So it's the sort of information that Laplace's demon would have. So all the, on the classical physics picture would be all the positions and momenta of particles.
Okay.
And not just at one time, but throughout space-time. So yes, yes. So boundary conditions, of course,
okay,
would be in there too. Okay, so I said it's reductionist, but in a sort of fairly weak sense, so this is the London School of Economics, so I thought I should say something about economics. And here it is. He says scrutability is quite consistent with explanatory autonomy with an economic truth, say about the financial crisis in 2008, is scrutable from physical truth, then a weak sort of explanation of the economic truth in terms of the physical truths will be possible, so weak sort of explanation. But for most purposes, this will be a much poorer explanation than an economic explanation in terms of credit mechanisms, for example. Well, I'm not sure whether the example is the best one, but I think that the point is certainly right. There's no sort of explanatory exclusion. The fact that we get some sort of, as it were, an explanation from below doesn't mean that we get other explanations doesn't mean that we don't get other explanations at a higher level, and even that we get much better explanation there. Now, what's the payoff of establishing scrutability? So scrutability is sort of the main thesis that Chalmers wants to defend in his strict tome, but he sort of keeps reminding us that he has other purposes, or that the thesis does have sort of philosophical payoffs. Now, some of them are sort of quite narrow, sort of benefits in particular debates that Chalmers is interested in. So he thinks that he can use scrutability to analyze epistemic possibility. So metaphysical possibility gets analyzed standardly using plausible worlds, and he says if scrutability is right, we can analyze epistemic necessity using something he calls scenarios or epistemically possible worlds. So he thinks that's one benefit of that. And he wants to defend a Freudian account of meaning, vindicate some version of narrow content. These are sort of his projects, but he also thinks, it shows to what extent science is unified. It gives us some sort of unity of science thesis, a sort of plausible one, and doesn't include the bad and indefensible elements that people like Carnap thought they could defend. And it avoids merely verbal disputes, so he thinks that if we have this scrutability thesis, it allows us to separate out more clearly which disputes are about words and which disputes are actually about the nature of the world. So we make analytic progress in that respect. And also he thinks it sort of indicates some form of philosophical optimism, in the sense that if everything is scrutable from a base, then everything is, roughly speaking, with a few complications, due to Fitch's paradox, roughly speaking, everything is knowable if only we have, suitable empirical information. And the information that PQI space looks like the sort of thing that, in principle, we could have. Maybe not, certainly not practically we can't have it, but it doesn't seem to be like, in principle, a big barrier to knowing it. And then if scrutability is also true, then in some sense everything is knowable, and there's sort of no limit to our march towards truth. Now, okay, so I've talked about his project. Now I want to talk a little bit about how he goes about establishing it. You're all familiar with a sort of layer cake picture of sciences. You may have some fundamental science, typically physics at the bottom, and then, if reductionists try to argue in a sort of step-by-step way. You start at the top, whatever, the details don't matter, but, you might have psychology, you reduce that to neuroscience, and then that to biology, and that to biochemistry, chemistry and physics. So you don't go sort of all the way down in one step. That, such an argument would be very hard to be convincing, but the way you argue is you do it step by step, and then sort of you use a certain kind of transitivity to argue that you've established the reduction of everything. Roughly speaking, Chalmers proceeds in a similar way, even though there are different ways to slice the cake, and he doesn't quite slice it that way. So he talks about first, at the bottom level you have P and Q, physical and phenomenal truth, and let's forget about indexical and totality. And then he says from there we get to the macroscopic truths, like tables and water bottles, and from there we get to various other truths, perhaps, intentional truths about the mind. He thinks that those can be reduced, unlike the ones about conscious experience, about the pain experience that can't be reduced to physics, but the things that, what I believe and what I desire that can be reduced. Things about, truths about social organizations, about nations, about clubs, and so on and so forth. That gets reduced to truths about what people believe and desire, and so on and so forth. Roughly speaking, a familiar sort of picture. So the point is, here, it's meant to be some sort of step-by-step procedure, how he tries to make that plausible. Now, I want to say a little bit about how he argues for the first step. The first step is from P and Q, microphysical and phenomenal truths, to sort of what he calls ordinary truths. Ordinary truths are like macroscopic truths, and basically what he has in mind, sort of truths not involving anything that's recognized to be philosophically problematic. So not about mathematics, not about values, not about intentionality, and so on and so forth. So paradigmatically, macroscopic truths. And he sort of has this nice thought experiment that he uses to persuade us that everything can be sort of read off a priori from the base, and that involves a cosmoscope. That's the picture of the cosmoscope that he asked us to look at, but it's not, I don't know exactly how it's supposed to work, but what the cosmoscope does, it's a, various parts of it, but it's a bit like sort of, something like Google Earth or Google Street View. You can go somewhere and then zoom in and sort of get all the detailed information about, in case of Google Earth, the physical layout of a certain part of the world, except that it does that for the whole space-time. So you can sort of figure out, it stores all the information about space-time, and you can sort of look that up, and it allows also, it also has you can calculate, you can store all this information, you can calculate with the information. It also has a sort of virtual reality device that can produce phenomenal states, or you can go, go to any one of you, zoom in on that, and then it would produce the phenomenal, conscious phenomenal experience in me that you are having. So it does that, that sort of thing. And it has a "you are here" marker. And so he then has this argument. The argument is as follows: he says, all ordinary truths, it's a bit vague what they are, and I told you nothing philosophically complicated. All ordinary truths are scrutable from a cosmoscope, meaning if you had a cosmoscope at your disposal, you could figure them out a priori. The first premise, the second premise, if the truth is scrutable from a cosmoscope, it is scrutable from PQI, and hence the conclusion, all ordinary truths are scrutable from PQI. So that's how he makes this sort of first step beyond the base plausible. That's the sort of step that doesn't, involve him in the typical philosophical debates. Afterwards, he goes to, philosophy of intentionality, philosophy of values, philosophy of mathematics, and he goes through the options and see what follows for his thesis. But here, it's not really, he doesn't need to go into this philosophical debates, and he doesn't sort of want to go one by one through all different truths about tables and bubbles. So he has this argument that's supposed to convince you in one go that will work for most truths. Okay, so far I've given you an exposition of the program, Chalmers program, and so there's a view of what parts are relevant for what I'm going to say. So now turning to a problem for this account. And the problem is really quite a simple problem, but I will argue it's actually not as sort of easily solved as it may seem, even though it's a very simple problem. Okay, so I call it the problem of cross-family quantification. Now here, here's a toy example. Chalmers doesn't use toy examples. He always has the whole world in view at the same time. So I'm trying to keep things simple here. So suppose P and Q are very simple. There's one physical, there's a physical property F and a phenomenal property G. And suppose now that let's say F is shaped, like round shape, and phenomenal property is color, blue color. So suppose now W is the actual world. Suppose we're in this very simple actual world. Now the problem just is that something like there is something that is both F and G will not be scrutable from PQTI of that world. And I call that a cross-family quantification because you have here a quantifier and you have a matrix, and the matrix contains expressions from both families, the P family and the Q family. So now, why is that? Why is that not scrutable here? So suppose W is actual, then the P description of W will be something like that. It's slightly simplified. It's something like, there is an X, there is a Y, such that Fx and F star Y, so F and F star are physical descriptions. So in our example, F would be is round, F star would be is triangular, and X doesn't equal Y. And we should probably add, if we don't have T, we should add X isn't F star and Y isn't F. But anyway, since they're shapes, maybe you might be able to reason that a priori figure out that they're incompatible. But anyway, so that would be the P description. Analogously, the Q description of this, well, maybe there's an X, there's a Y, such as Gx and G star of Y, and X doesn't equal Y. There's one thing I should have mentioned before. These descriptions, they don't contain proper names. So the PQ, they're sort of, formulated in a vocabulary that doesn't contain proper names. So you don't have proper names for space-time cones or for electrons or for magnets or whatever. So there's an existential truth. So PP is an existential sentence. There's an X, there's a Y, there's a Z, there's a blah, 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 like that. Q. But now you see the problem here. Now both P and Q will be true in world W, which is the actual world for our assumption, but also in world W prime. They don't differ in their P description, they don't differ in their Q description. But obviously, there is an X such that Fx and Gx is only true in W and not in W prime. So I'm using these as epistemically possible worlds here just to make the problem vivid. That sort of gets the order of analysis backwards in Chalmers sense, because he wants to actually first establish scrutability to then construct epistemically possible worlds, but I find it sort of convenient to sort of model things using epistemically possible worlds. Anyway, so that cross-boundary quantification is not scrutable from P and Q in that very simple world. Now, it's not, so that it's not completely clear whether Chalmers has a way out here given what he says. The way he specifies P and Q is a little bit more than what I've told you. He says we can also allow Q to include any psychophysical truths concerning lawful regularities and counterfactual dependence between the phenomenal truths and macrophysical truths. So that maybe could, allow him to get around this problem. So he says we can allow Q to include, and like we said, Q does include that, and also he only says he doesn't include any sort of regularities connecting the physical and the phenomenal vocabulary. So only lawful and counterfactual connections between them. So if you think of this as it were a sort of a human world, where if these worlds are human, or if not, where shape and color aren't in any way sort of lawful way related, and they're just brute regularities, accidental regularities, then that sort of more generous conception of Q as allowing these psychophysical laws won't get around the problem. Okay, so here's just a diagnosis why Chalmers didn't notice the problem. And I think it has to do with the cosmoscope, because of the way he describes the cosmoscope gives us more information than P and Q do. Here's a sort of revealing formulation. He says, for every object that exists, P will specify its shape, size, composition, mass distribution, and so on in a physical vocabulary. So the way he talks about the cosmoscope, he clearly thinks it gives us the array knowledge about electrons and space-time points and minds. But P doesn't. P only, remember, P is just a big existential plane. So the cosmoscope crucially gives us more than just P. There's a sort of cosmoscope fallacy going on. what is true is if there's something that's phi, then, well, if P and Q specify there's something that's phi. But what's not true is that the array claim for every x if phi is x, and P specifies that phi is x. Even though the Cosmoscope arguably does specify that phi is x in that the array manner. So, you know, global Earth, you presumably think you can get sort of the array knowledge about certain places on Earth, about what happens there, rather than just existential knowledge. Yeah, so the corresponding claim for the Cosmoscope, I think, is true, but for P it's not. So anyway, the upshot is, I think, the second premise in Chalmers' Cosmoscope argument is false. While I think the first one may be true, that all ordinary truths are scrutable from this Cosmoscope, I think the second one may be false. Or is false if the truth is scrutable from a Cosmoscope. It is scrutable from PQI. I mean, which premise is false depends quite subtly on how you think of the Cosmoscope. But I think that's why, I mean, that sort of simple problem got unnoticed because, you know, Chalmers was thinking in terms of the Cosmoscope.
So if you were to include in PQI proper names, then you could avoid that problem. Is that right?
Well, yes, if you have like a name for everything that exists, then that specific problem doesn't arise. But that would really quite dramatically change the shape of the project, because it's quite hard, you know, quite hard to sort of a priori. Well, I don't know. I mean, it would be a very different sort of reduction if you had proper names in it.
Sorry, can I ask for just
Yes?
clarification? The I descriptions, can you give me an example what an I description would say?
The I is in PQDI.
Yes.
All right. So it will be something like I am the person, this coordinate, and you know, it's describing me. So for me, the I, so it's indexical. So it's mainly I for the speaker and now. And so it would be a description picking up that's true of the speaker.
And doesn't this imply the way?
Right. Okay. Good. No. I think yes. Good. Yes. It arguably does. How? I think in that case I would need the example to be a bit more complicated. So I sort of abstracted from I, but I can, if we sort of have, if we can fix the I using the indexical, then I just need a world with three things. The I is, all the truths about the I is kept fixed, but the other things are permuted, and there is no, they sort of stand in symmetrical relations to the I. Then the same problem arises, but it's slightly harder to state. Good. So anyway, in some senses, you know, this problem is easily fixed. We can just say, okay, PQ doesn't just have the physical truths and the phenomenal truths, but all the truths in the sort of combined vocabulary, and then that problem is solved. And you know, Chalmers is quite relaxed about making the base bigger. But I think there is another sort of problem remains when we then move on, because of what I said before about how the reduction is supposed to be cumulative. And I think that sort of problem comes back to bite us, because I think that cumulative reductions are affected by that problem in a very sort of general way, and that's what I'm trying to explain in the following. So, to give an example of how this, what I'm calling sort of cumulative reduction or cumulative scrutability work. So suppose we have an argument that ordinary macroscopic truths are scrutable from PQDI, and then we have an argument that intentional truths are scrutable from PQTI and ordinary macroscopic truths, intentional truths like truths about beliefs and desires and so on. And then we have social truths are scrutable from PQTI, ordinary macroscopic truths and intentional truths. If you have something like that, that's sort of how it's meant to go, and that's clearly how Chalmers suggests the argument goes. But I think there's a problem here. And now it's going to be a bit more trying to present the problem in a slightly more abstract way. So S is a function that maps expressions, a class of expressions to sentences that can be formed using these expressions. Using the expressions come with their sort of grammatical rules, so any given class of expressions, there will be a certain class of sentences that can be formed. From them T, it would be the class of truths in that some of these sentences will be true and will be false, so T of E will be the class of truths. Now F, I'm using these are expressions featuring in PQTI, so physical phenomenon vocabulary. Here M, macroscopic vocabulary like table, and I, it would be intentional vocabulary like beliefs. And then if you have an argument like that on the right-hand side, we have the truths, the sort of macroscopic truths are scrutable from the PQTI truths, so that would be the first step. And the next step it is argued that intentional truths are scrutable from the truths formulated in the vocabulary of PQTI plus the macroscopic one. If that's the second premise, then we want to conclude, and this is sort of what, telescope things together using a certain form of transitivity. We want to conclude that intentional truths are scrutable from the base, from the F truths, which are the PQTI truths. So that's the sort of, how the argument, an argument that is implicit in many places in the book, and it's clearly the sort of argument that people who are involved in sort of global reductionist projects want to make. But that argument is not valid. And the reason it's valid is basically because of the problem of cross-family quantification, or because of some sort of more general version of that problem. The way you can see it is a little bit is that the truths formulated in the language that has expressions in F and M, so the cup is this union, theoretic union. Truths in the combined vocabulary isn't just the class of truths in one vocabulary, the union of that with the class of truths in the other vocabulary. And cross-family quantifications is one example of that. Yes, that's just more formally what I said. If you have cross-family quantification, it will be in the truths formulated using the union, but not in the separate truths. Now, of course, you have other examples where, so I go one back, where something is in here, but not in here, like conjunction, cross-family conjunction. Cross-family conjunction isn't a problem because, because of the, or generally speaking, any sort of truth functional cross-family connective won't be a problem because you can, if you know the truth value, for instance, as a truth function, you can a priori figure out the truth value of the new sentences. But if you have non-truth functional expressions as well, like this sort of quantification here, then you get a problem. In principle, you can have the problem with lots of other cross-family connectives, for example, with counterfactuals. And to his credit, Chalmers is actually quite sensitive that when he discusses counterfactuals, he's quite sensitive to the issue that he sort of needs to, he discusses adding he starts with the language of microphysics, and he adds counterfactuals, and then he adds macrophysical expressions. And he's quite sensitive to the fact that, once, if he has argued that you get counterfactuals among the microphysical things, and he has argued that you get the macrophysical things from the microphysical things, that he then needs a further argument that you also get the counterfactuals among the macrophysical things. So his discussion is very informal, and he often has notices these things, but sometimes but sort of on an ad hoc basis, and then he discusses them. In the case of counterfactuals, he is sensitive to the issue. In certain other cases, he is not. Belief operators also, could give rise to the problem. Necessity, these are all sort of cross-family operators that might give rise to some form of the problem. Obligation, so maybe if you have, you have individuals and you have the sort of truth about obligations among them might be scrutable from them, and maybe social truth might also be scrutable from them. But then it's a further question whether sort of obligation of the social entities, obligations of states and obligations of class will also be scrutable. So, whenever you can't do it in the sort of step-by-step manner. So I want to make the formal point a little bit more perspicuous. And for that purpose, I will now define an expression, define scrutability among classes of expressions. Officially, and the way I defined it was relation among sentences. But Chalmers informally often uses it as a relation among expressions. And we can just say that class of expressions E is scrutable from a class of expressions E prime if the truth that can be formulated in the vocabulary E is scrutable from the truth that can be formulated in the vocabulary E prime, where that scrutable here is as previously defined. So we can sort of extend it to classes of expressions. And then that sort of problem for the cumulative reduction. So I just, this is the argument we had. I'm just using now the definition. And then it reads as follows, hopefully a bit more perspicuous. So M is scrutable from F. I is first premise, second premise. I is scrutable from F and M together. And we would like to conclude, if we sort of, establish cumulative reduction, that I is scrutable from F. But that's not valid. So I broke that down a little bit to see what sort of principles break down here. Just to sort of cut the long story short. So I use 3 principles in this expanded argument to see which one falls. So reflexivity, that one is certainly fine the way it was defined. Scrutability, transitivity in this form holds 2, but what doesn't hold is a principle called accumulativity. If A is scrutable from B and A prime is scrutable from B, then the union of A and A prime is scrutable from B. That doesn't hold. And in effect, the cross-family quantification is an example. Here's another sort of a real-life example. Take L to which is the class of logical expressions, and add 2 superlatives. The tallest thing and the heaviest thing, or animal or whatever. If their ties, let it be some sort of let it be the number 7. So tallest is a predicate that applies to the tallest animal, if there is one, and otherwise to the number 7. Heaviest is a predicate that applies to the heaviest animal, otherwise the number 7, if there isn't one. And then all the truths about tallest and heaviest are a priori. well, you know, that sort of language, the only truths we have, basically there's one and only one thing that's the tallest one. There's one and only one thing that's the heaviest one. So these are the only truths, apart from truths about cardinality. So it's a very contrived example, but it makes the point. So separately in these two vocabularies, all the truths are a priori. But of course, if you combine the vocabularies, it's not a priori whether the tallest, there's something that's both the tallest and the heaviest thing. So in the actual world where the giraffe is the tallest and the elephant is the heaviest, there would be one thing that has both these properties, but in another world where you just have the giraffe and no elephants, the same thing would be the tallest and the heaviest. So that's an example of the failure of this accumulativity principle. So likewise, generalized versions of transitivity fail. The sort of transitivity, simple transitivity as displayed before, if it's just, if C is A is excludable from B and B is excludable from C, then A is excludable from C, that holds. But these sort of generalized versions, they fail roughly for the same reason. Anyway, there's more I could say, but won't say here about how to sort of avoid this issue, and restore some kind of sort of reasoning by transitivity, what you need to do. I think it's actually quite complicated. Nothing works really, nothing is plausible. But what I want to talk now as the last thing is, do we have, is it just sort of a problem that arises in these contrived cases and in the toy example, or is it a sort of real problem? That's actually something I'm not sure about. I think I sort of have the hunch it's a real problem that arises all over the place. Think, for example, take now not the mathematical expressions not as one family, but think of, as it were, real number, the sort of the real number theory terms as one family, and natural number theory as one family. So then it's very plausible to say that everything in the real number, everything that can be said in the real number family is a priori. Everything that can be said in the natural number family is also a priori. At least on Chalmers' very expansive conception of a priori. But then the question whether there is something that's both a natural number and a real number, it's much less clear whether that's a priori, whether the real number one is the same as the natural number one. Or in general, any sort of cross-domain identification, maybe all the truths about sets are a priori, all the truths about properties are a priori, as whether any set is a property. Again, that might not be, that might be much harder. Or if you have something like Leibniz's metaphysical view, whether there is something, namely a monad, that has both the physical and the mental property, that might not be a priori scrutable from the base. Or if you sort of look more about contemporary conceptions of properties, people like John Heil and Stephen Martin, they say that there is one property that has both this categorical and the disposition aspects. Again, that might be something sort of a cross-domain, cross-family quantification that may not be scrutable from the things separately, from the truths in the family separately. Okay, my conclusion. So, I think what I wanted to argue is that Chalmers' case for scrutability from a small base suffers from a lack of attention to these cross-family quantifications and other kinds of cross-family connectives, because certain forms of reasoning by transitivity break down in that context. So we can't take the sort of usual shortcuts, that reductionists like to make shortcuts using certain kind of cut or transitivity principle. And so, reductionism may be true, but it's a lot harder to establish than we would have thought. That's it.